It's official. Roman Reigns didn't just return from that hospital bed in Paris. He came back with a vengeance so nuclear, so earth-shattering, that WWE executives are reportedly in emergency meetings trying to figure out how to contain what they've unleashed. What started as a brutal 2-on-1 assault that left the tribal chief broken and bloodied has now exploded into the most devastating revenge story in wrestling history. And the bombshell we're about to drop will leave your jaw on the floor. Sources close to the WWE Inner Circle are confirming what nobody saw coming. Roman Reigns' hospital stay wasn't just about physical recovery. It was about planning the most catastrophic comeback in sports entertainment history. Multiple insiders are telling us that while Bronson Reed and Braun were celebrating their supposed victory, Roman was orchestrating something so unprecedented, so game-changing, that it's already being called the most legendary moment of 2025. Here's the nuclear truth that's sending shockwaves through the wrestling world right now. Roman Reigns didn't return alone. He brought with him a mystery monster so terrifying, so powerful, that veteran wrestlers are reportedly refusing to get in the ring. We're talking about a figure so imposing that even Brock Lesnar's camp has gone silent. The identity of this mystery alliance is about to blow your mind, and the implications for WrestlePalooza 2025 are absolutely earth-shattering. But that's not even the most shocking part. Word on the street is that this entire hospital angle was a work, but not the kind of work you think. Sources familiar with the situation are claiming that Roman's injury was strategically planned to set up the most mind-blowing storyline WWE has ever attempted. The level of secrecy surrounding this return has been unprecedented, with only a handful of top executives knowing the full scope of what was coming. The controversy bomb that's about to explode will change everything you thought you knew about this story. Because what happened on SmackDown wasn't just a return, it was a declaration of war. And the stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about a revenge tour so brutal, so methodical, that industry insiders are calling it career-defining television. The ripple effects are already being felt throughout the entire wrestling landscape. People familiar with WWE's creative process are telling us that this storyline has been in development for months, with Roman himself heavily involved in crafting every detail of his comeback. The hospital scenes, the mysterious absence, even the timing of his return, all of it was meticulously planned to create maximum impact. And judging by the internet's reaction, they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Multiple sources confirm that the mystery monster who appeared alongside Roman has a connection to his past that nobody saw coming. We're talking about a relationship so deep, so personal, that it adds layers of authenticity to this revenge narrative that has fans completely losing their minds. The identity reveal is going to rewrite wrestling history, and we're about to give you exclusive details that mainstream wrestling media won't touch. If you're already hooked by this insanity, smash that hype button, because this story gets 10x more explosive. The evidence we've uncovered about Roman's master plan will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about modern wrestling storytelling. This isn't just entertainment. This is psychological warfare at its finest. Let's rewind to the beginning of this epic saga, because the roots of Roman Reigns' nuclear revenge run deeper than anyone imagined. The story actually starts months before a clash at the castle in Paris, when backstage tensions between Roman and the rising powerhouse duo of Bronson Reed and Braun began reaching a boiling point. Sources close to the WWE locker room reveal that Reed and Breakker had been quietly building a coalition of wrestlers who felt overshadowed by Roman's 4-year reign of dominance. The Tribal Chief's stranglehold on WWE's main event scene had created what insiders describe as a pressure cooker environment backstage. Multiple wrestlers were reportedly frustrated with their lack of opportunities, and Reed and Breakker positioned themselves as the leaders of this underground rebellion. Documents obtained by sources familiar with creative meetings show that this wasn't just kayfabe. There were real tensions brewing behind the scenes that WWE decided to weaponize for television. What makes this story even more compelling is Roman's personal journey during this period. Those close to the inner circle reveal that Roman was dealing with his own doubts about his character's direction. After years of being positioned as the company's top star, he was reportedly eager to explore a darker, more complex version of the Tribal Chief. The hospital angle provided the perfect opportunity to reinvent himself in ways that would shock longtime fans. The character development that led to this moment has been years in the making. Roman's evolution from the corporate chosen golden boy to the acknowledged head of the table was already legendary, but sources suggest that his latest transformation represents the most dramatic character shift in WWE history. The psychological depth being added to his persona through this revenge storyline is reportedly something Roman himself pushed for, wanting to show acting range that would elevate wrestling storytelling to new heights. Now let's talk about the key players in this unfolding drama, because each character brings their own explosive backstory to this nuclear narrative. Bronson Reed, the Australian powerhouse, has been quietly building a reputation as one of the most legitimate tough guys in the company. Behind closed doors, Reed is described by colleagues as intensely focused and genuinely intimidating, qualities that made him perfect for this storyline. His real-life journey from the independent wrestling scene to WWE's main event picture mirrors the hunger and desperation that his character channels. Braun, the former NFL player turned wrestling monster, brings a different kind of authenticity to this feud. Sources familiar with his background reveal that Breaker's transition from professional football to wrestling wasn't easy, and he's channeled that frustration into creating one of the most believable monster characters in recent memory. The chemistry between Reed and Breaker isn't just scripted, it's built on a genuine friendship and mutual respect that translates into devastating tag team chemistry. But the most intriguing character development involves Tama Tonga, whose role in Roman's revenge story connects to deep wrestling history that casual fans might not fully appreciate. Tonga's family connections to the wrestling business run generations deep, and his alliance with Roman represents a merging of wrestling dynasties that has profound implications for the industry. Insiders suggest that Tonga's involvement wasn't originally planned, but his natural chemistry with Roman during backstage interactions convinced creative to expand his role dramatically. The timeline of events leading to this crisis reads like a perfectly crafted thriller screenplay. It began with subtle signs of discontent during Roman's matches throughout early 2025. Veteran wrestling observers noticed that his in-ring psychology was shifting, becoming more aggressive and desperate. Sources close to the creative team reveal that these weren't accidental changes. Roman was methodically building toward a character breaking point that would justify the extreme measures he would eventually take. The first major escalation came during a backstage segment that most fans dismissed as routine storytelling. Reed and Breaker's confrontation with Roman seemed like standard wrestling drama, but people familiar with the situation say it was based on real tensions that had been building for months. The authenticity of their animosity added layers of realism that made their eventual assault feel genuinely shocking rather than predictably scripted. As the storyline developed, WWE's creative team made the unprecedented decision to blur the lines between reality and fiction in ways that had never been attempted before. The hospital angle wasn't just about creating sympathy for Roman, it was about giving him time to physically and mentally prepare for a comeback that would redefine his entire career. Sources suggest that Roman spent his time away from television studying method acting techniques and working with performance coaches to develop the psychological depth his character would need. The warning signs that everyone missed were hiding in plain sight, but they required insider knowledge to fully understand. Roman's social media activity during his absence followed patterns that suggested careful planning rather than genuine recovery. His posts were strategically timed and crafted to maintain just enough presence to keep fans engaged while building anticipation for his return. Multiple sources confirm that every aspect of his online activity was coordinated with WWE's marketing team to maximize the impact of his eventual comeback. Even more telling were the backstage reports from WWE events during Roman's absence. Wrestlers and crew members described an unusual level of secrecy surrounding certain production meetings. Security was reportedly increased around creative discussions, and several key personnel signed additional non-disclosure agreements. These measures suggested that something much bigger than a standard wrestling storyline was being planned, though the full scope wouldn't become clear until Roman's explosive return. But here's where it gets absolutely nuclear, and this is the bombshell that's going to rewrite everything you thought you knew about this entire storyline. Sources close to WWE's inner circle have confirmed what wrestling insiders have been whispering about for weeks. Roman Reigns' hospital stay was never about recovery. It was about recruitment. While the wrestling world thought he was healing from his injuries, Roman was actually conducting secret meetings with a figure so powerful, so connected to wrestling's underground network, that his involvement changes the entire landscape of professional wrestling. The mystery monster who appeared alongside Roman isn't just another wrestler. He's reportedly a legitimate enforcer with connections to wrestling's most dangerous territories. Multiple sources familiar with the situation describe him as someone who operates in the shadows of the wrestling business, handling situations that require a level of intimidation that goes beyond scripted entertainment. His real-life reputation is so fearsome that veteran wrestlers who've worked with him describe the experience as genuinely unsettling. What makes this revelation even more explosive is the method by which Roman recruited this alliance. Documents obtained by sources close to the negotiation process reveal that Roman didn't go through WWE's standard talent acquisition channels. Instead, he used his personal connections and financial resources to bring in someone who operates outside the traditional wrestling system. This represents an unprecedented level of creative control that WWE has never granted to a performer, suggesting that Roman's influence within the company has reached levels that even industry veterans find shocking. The detailed breakdown of how this recruitment happened reads like something out of a crime thriller. Roman reportedly reached out through intermediaries who specialize in connecting wrestling personalities with legitimate tough guys from various combat sports backgrounds. The negotiations took place in locations far from WWE's corporate oversight, with Roman personally guaranteeing financial terms that exceed what most wrestlers earn in entire careers. The level of secrecy surrounding these meetings was so intense that even Roman's closest associates were kept in the dark about the full scope of his plans. But the most mind-blowing aspect of this revelation is what it means for the wrestling industry as a whole. By bringing in someone with genuine intimidation factor, Roman has essentially raised the stakes of wrestling storytelling to levels that blur the line between entertainment and reality. Sources familiar with the creative process suggest that this move was inspired by Roman's desire to create television that feels genuinely unpredictable and dangerous, rather than the carefully choreographed entertainment that modern wrestling has become. The immediate reactions to Roman's return have been nothing short of earth-shattering. Backstage reports from SmackDown describe a locker room atmosphere unlike anything veteran wrestlers have experienced. The presence of Roman's mystery ally has reportedly created genuine tension among the roster, with several wrestlers expressing concerns about the direction the company is heading. This isn't the usual backstage politics. Sources describe it as legitimate unease about the implications of bringing real-world intimidation into scripted entertainment. Social media exploded in ways that WWE's marketing team couldn't have predicted. The hashtags related to Roman's return trended worldwide within minutes, but the conversation quickly shifted from excitement to genuine concern about what fans were witnessing. Wrestling journalists who've covered the industry for decades described the segment as unlike anything they'd ever seen, with several noting that the atmosphere felt genuinely threatening rather than entertainingly dramatic. The fallout extended beyond just wrestling fans. Mainstream sports media picked up the story, with several outlets questioning whether WWE had crossed ethical lines by introducing elements that seemed to transcend traditional wrestling entertainment. The controversy generated more mainstream attention than WWE had received in years, but it also raised questions about the company's responsibility to maintain clear boundaries between fiction and reality. Industry insiders reveal that the reaction within WWE's corporate structure has been mixed. While the immediate ratings and social media response exceeded all expectations, there are reportedly concerns about the long-term implications of this storytelling approach. Sources familiar with executive discussions describe heated debates about whether Roman's creative control should be expanded or reined in, with different factions within the company taking opposing positions on the direction of the storyline. The social media explosion analysis reveals patterns that suggest this story has transcended typical wrestling fandom. The engagement metrics show that the audience discussing Roman's return includes significant numbers of people who don't typically follow wrestling, drawn in by the genuine unpredictability of what they witnessed. This crossover appeal represents exactly the kind of mainstream breakthrough that WWE has been seeking, but it comes with risks that the company is still evaluating. Your hype points are literally helping us fund more investigations like this. Hit that button if you want us to keep digging deeper. Because what we're about to reveal next will completely change your understanding of how deep this conspiracy goes, and the implications for WrestlePalooza 2025 are absolutely staggering. The internet turned into detectives the moment Roman Reigns' mystery ally stepped out of the shadows, and what they've uncovered is more explosive than anyone could have imagined. Wrestling forums, social media platforms, and fan communities have been working around the clock to identify this mysterious figure, and the evidence they've compiled paints a picture of someone whose background is far more complex and dangerous than typical wrestling entertainment would suggest. Multiple insider sources have provided exclusive information that reveals the true scope of Roman's master plan. Documents obtained through sources familiar with WWE's creative process show that this storyline has been in development for over 8 months, with Roman personally involved in every aspect of the planning. The level of detail in these documents is unprecedented, including psychological profiles of his targets, strategic timing for maximum impact, and contingency plans for various audience reactions. The leaked evidence goes far beyond typical wrestling storyline development. Sources close to the production team reveal that Roman insisted on using real-world investigation techniques to build authentic backgrounds for all the characters involved. This included hiring private investigators to research the legitimate tough guy credentials of potential allies, consulting with former military personnel about psychological warfare tactics, and even studying historical revenge narratives from various cultures to add depth to his character's motivation. What makes this investigation even more compelling is the discovery of financial records that show Roman's personal investment in this storyline. Sources familiar with the contracts reveal that Roman has put his own money behind various aspects of the production, including the recruitment of his mystery ally, specialized training for the physical aspects of the storyline, and even funding for enhanced security measures during live events. This level of personal financial commitment suggests that Roman views this storyline as more than just entertainment. It's a career-defining artistic statement. Behind the scenes, power struggles have emerged as different factions within WWE grapple with the implications of Roman's creative control. Sources close to the executive level describe heated discussions about whether allowing a performer this level of influence sets a dangerous precedent for the company. Some executives reportedly view Roman's approach as innovative storytelling that could revolutionize wrestling entertainment, while others express concerns about maintaining corporate control over content and talent. The power dynamics have shifted dramatically since Roman's return. Veteran wrestlers who previously held significant backstage influence report feeling marginalized by the attention and resources being devoted to Roman's storyline. Sources familiar with locker room politics describe a growing divide between wrestlers who support Roman's creative vision and those who feel it threatens the traditional collaborative nature of wrestling storytelling. These internal tensions have reportedly reached the highest levels of WWE's corporate structure. Board members and major shareholders are said to be closely monitoring the situation, with some expressing concerns about the company's direction under Roman's increased influence. The financial success of the storyline has complicated these discussions, as the immediate returns have exceeded projections, but long-term implications remain uncertain. The financial implications of Roman's revenge storyline extend far beyond typical wrestling economics. Sources familiar with WWE's revenue streams reveal that the company has already seen significant increases in merchandise sales, streaming subscriptions, and ticket sales for upcoming events. The mystery surrounding Roman's ally has created a marketing phenomenon that WWE's promotional team couldn't have engineered through traditional methods. Legal implications have also emerged as WWE's legal department works to address the unique challenges posed by Roman's approach to storytelling. Sources close to the legal team reveal that new contracts and liability waivers have been developed specifically for this storyline, acknowledging the increased risks associated with blending reality and fiction to this degree. These legal measures represent unprecedented steps for WWE, suggesting that even the company's lawyers recognize they're operating in uncharted territory. The investigation has revealed that Roman's influence extends beyond just his own storyline. Sources familiar with creative meetings report that his success has inspired other wrestlers to push for increased creative control over their characters and storylines. This trend could fundamentally alter the power structure within WWE, shifting influence away from corporate creative teams toward individual performers in ways that could reshape the entire industry. But that's not even the most shocking part of this unfolding drama, because what we've discovered next completely reframes everything you thought you knew about Roman Reigns' master plan. Sources close to WWE's inner circle have revealed that the mystery monster who appeared alongside Roman isn't just a random recruitment. He's someone with direct connections to Roman's family history and the Wrestling One business's most closely guarded secrets. The new evidence that's emerged paints a picture of a relationship that goes back generations. Multiple sources familiar with wrestling's territorial era reveal that Roman's mystery ally has family connections to the same Samoan wrestling dynasty that produced Roman himself. This isn't just about adding muscle to Roman's storyline. It's about reuniting bloodlines that were separated by the politics and business decisions that shaped modern wrestling. The authenticity of this connection adds layers of legitimacy to their alliance that scripted partnerships could never achieve. Documents obtained by sources close to the Anoa'i family reveal that Roman's mystery ally is actually a distant cousin who was deliberately kept out of WWE's developmental system due to his legitimate fighting background and connections to underground combat sports. The decision to exclude him wasn't based on lack of talent. It was reportedly due to concerns about his ability to separate entertainment from reality. His recruitment by Roman represents a direct challenge to WWE's traditional gatekeeping practices and corporate control over talent acquisition. What makes this revelation even more explosive is the method by which this family connection was hidden from WWE's corporate structure. Sources familiar with the negotiation process reveal that Roman used his personal relationships and financial resources to circumvent the company's standard background check procedures. He essentially smuggled his own family member into the company under the guise of an independent contractor, avoiding the scrutiny that would have prevented this alliance from forming through official channels. The implications of this family reunion extend far beyond just wrestling entertainment. Industry insiders suggest that Roman's actions represent a fundamental challenge to WWE's corporate control over the Samoan wrestling legacy. By bringing in family members without corporate approval, Roman has essentially declared independence from the system that made him a star, creating a power dynamic that threatens the traditional relationship between WWE and its top performers. Key players' desperate responses to this revelation have been swift and dramatic. Bronson Reed and Braun, who initially seemed confident in their ability to handle Roman's return, are reportedly scrambling to develop countermeasures against an opponent whose resources and connections they severely underestimated. Sources close to their camp describe panic-level meetings as they realize they're not just facing Roman Reigns, they're facing an entire family network with decades of wrestling knowledge and legitimate fighting experience. WWE's executive response has been equally frantic. Sources familiar with corporate discussions reveal that emergency meetings have been called to address the implications of Roman's unauthorized recruitment. Legal teams are reportedly reviewing contracts and corporate policies to determine what actions can be taken, while creative teams struggle to adapt storylines to accommodate a situation that has spiraled beyond their control. The public opinion shift has been dramatic and unprecedented. Wrestling fans who initially viewed Roman's return as typical sports entertainment are now questioning what they're actually witnessing. Social media analysis shows that conversations have shifted from excitement about storyline developments to genuine concern about the blurring of reality and fiction. This represents exactly the kind of authentic engagement that modern wrestling has struggled to achieve, but it comes with risks that the industry has never had to navigate. This is the kind of content that changes industries. Show your support by hyping this video so more people see what's really happening. The evidence we're uncovering suggests that Roman's actions could fundamentally alter how wrestling companies approach talent relations and creative control, with implications that extend far beyond WWE's corporate structure. This isn't just about Roman Reigns anymore. What we're witnessing is a seismic shift that's sending shockwaves through the entire professional wrestling industry. Sources close to competing wrestling promotions reveal that executives across the business are closely monitoring WWE's handling of Roman's creative rebellion, with many viewing it as a test case for how much power top performers should be allowed to wield over their own storylines and character development. The industry-wide panic is palpable among wrestling's power brokers. All elite wrestling executives are reportedly concerned that their own top stars might demand similar levels of creative control, potentially disrupting the collaborative creative processes that have defined modern wrestling promotion management. Sources familiar with AEW's internal discussions describe emergency meetings focused on developing policies to prevent similar situations from arising within their organization. Impact Wrestling and other smaller promotions are taking a different approach, with some reportedly viewing Roman's actions as a blueprint for attracting disaffected WWE talent who want more creative freedom. Industry insiders suggest that several promotions are already reaching out to WWE performers who might be interested in similar arrangements, potentially triggering a talent acquisition war that could reshape the entire wrestling landscape. The ripple effects have extended into wrestling's developmental territories and training facilities. Sources close to WWE's Performance Center reveal that trainee wrestlers are now asking questions about creative control and performer rights that were never part of previous training curricula. This represents a fundamental shift in how the next generation of wrestlers views their relationship with corporate wrestling entities. Other celebrities and figures from mainstream entertainment have begun taking notice of Roman's approach to creative control. Sources familiar with Hollywood's wrestling connections reveal that several actors and entertainers who've worked with WWE are reassessing their own contracts and creative arrangements. The precedent Roman has set could influence how celebrity guest appearances and crossover projects are negotiated in the future. The cultural implications extend beyond just wrestling entertainment. Roman's actions represent a broader trend toward performer empowerment that's been building across various entertainment industries. Sources close to entertainment industry analysts suggest that Roman's success could inspire similar creative rebellions in other forms of scripted entertainment, from television to streaming content. Social media influencers and content creators have also taken notice of Roman's approach to audience engagement. The authentic unpredictability he's created has generated the kind of organic viral content that marketing teams spend millions trying to manufacture. Industry experts suggest that Roman's methods could influence how other entertainers approach audience relationship building and content creation. The financial implications for WWE's competitors are significant. Roman's storyline has generated mainstream media attention and audience engagement that other wrestling promotions struggle to achieve with much larger marketing budgets. This success has reportedly prompted competing companies to reconsider their own approaches to storyline development and talent management. Wrestling journalism has been forced to adapt to cover a story that transcends traditional wrestling reporting. Sources close to major wrestling media outlets reveal that reporters are now consulting with mainstream entertainment and business journalists to properly analyze the implications of Roman's actions. This represents an evolution in how wrestling stories are covered and understood by both industry insiders and general audiences. The international wrestling scene has also been affected, with promotions in Japan, Mexico, and Europe reportedly studying Roman's approach for potential adaptation to their own cultural contexts. Sources familiar with international wrestling business suggest that Roman's success could inspire similar creative experiments in markets where wrestling has different cultural significance and corporate structures. Where everyone stands now in this unfolding drama reads like a complex chess match, where every move has consequences that extend far beyond the wrestling ring. Roman Reigns has positioned himself as the undisputed power player, but sources close to his inner circle reveal that maintaining this level of creative control requires constant vigilance and strategic maneuvering that goes far beyond typical wrestling storyline management. Roman's current status within WWE represents a unique position that no performer in the company's history has ever occupied. Sources familiar with his contract negotiations reveal that he's essentially operating as an independent creative entity within WWE's corporate structure, with approval authority over his own storylines, opponent selection, and even merchandise development. This level of autonomy has created a precedent that other top performers are already attempting to leverage in their own contract discussions. The Mystery Allies' integration into WWE's roster has been carefully managed to maintain the authenticity that makes their partnership so compelling. Sources close to the creative team reveal that his appearances are being limited and strategically planned to preserve the aura of unpredictability that has made him such an effective storytelling element. This approach represents a sophisticated understanding of audience psychology that goes beyond traditional wrestling booking philosophy. Latest developments show that the storyline success has exceeded even Roman's expectations. Merchandise sales featuring his new alliance have broken company records, while social media engagement metrics continue to reach levels that WWE's marketing team previously thought impossible. Sources familiar with the revenue streams reveal that Roman's creative gamble has generated returns that justify the risks and corporate disruption his approach has caused. The ongoing legal and professional consequences continue to evolve as WWE's corporate structure adapts to accommodate Roman's unprecedented level of creative control. Sources close to the legal department reveal that new contract templates are being developed specifically for top-tier performers who want similar arrangements, suggesting that Roman's approach could become a new standard for how WWE manages its biggest stars. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker's response to Roman's escalation has been to double down on their own intimidation tactics, but sources close to their camp reveal growing concerns about their ability to match the authenticity and unpredictability that Roman has brought to the feud. Their traditional approach to wrestling storytelling is being challenged by Roman's willingness to blur the lines between entertainment and reality in ways that make their characters seem scripted by comparison. The broader WWE roster's reaction has been mixed, with veteran performers expressing both admiration and concern about the precedent Roman has set. Sources familiar with locker room dynamics describe a growing divide between wrestlers who view Roman's approach as innovative evolution and those who worry about the implications for collaborative creative processes that have traditionally defined wrestling storytelling. Corporate executives continue to grapple with the long-term implications of Roman's creative rebellion. Sources close to board-level discussions reveal ongoing debates about whether to expand similar creative control to other top performers or implement new policies to prevent future unauthorized storyline developments. The financial success of Roman's approach has complicated these discussions, as the immediate returns have exceeded projections while long-term risks remain uncertain. We're about to reveal the most shocking part, but first, if this expose has blown your mind, give it the hype it deserves. The evidence we've uncovered about what's planned for WrestlePalooza 2025 will completely reframe your understanding of where this story is heading, and the implications are absolutely staggering. What's coming next in Roman Reigns' revenge saga is so unprecedented, so earth-shattering, that sources close to WWE's creative team describe it as the most ambitious storyline in wrestling history. The road to WrestlePalooza 2025 isn't just about settling scores with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, it's about Roman establishing a new paradigm for how wrestling entertainment operates at the highest levels. Multiple sources familiar with the long-term planning reveal that Roman's mystery ally is just the first of several recruits who will be joining his cause. The family connections we've uncovered suggest that Roman is building toward reuniting wrestling bloodlines that have been separated for decades, creating a super faction that would have both legitimate fighting credentials and deep historical significance within the wrestling business. Industry insiders predict that Roman's success will inspire other top performers to demand similar creative control, potentially triggering a fundamental shift in how wrestling companies operate. Sources close to contract negotiations at various promotions suggest that the Roman Reigns model is already being discussed as a template for how major stars might structure their relationships with wrestling corporations in the future. The financial implications for WrestlePalooza 2025 are staggering. Sources familiar with WWE's revenue projections reveal that Roman's storyline has already generated pre-sale ticket numbers that exceed previous WrestleMania events. The mainstream media attention and crossover audience appeal he's created represent exactly the kind of cultural breakthrough that WWE has been seeking for years. But the most explosive prediction involves what sources describe as Roman's nuclear option, a storyline development so shocking that it would permanently alter the wrestling landscape. While details remain closely guarded, Insiders suggest that Roman's ultimate plan involves exposing industry secrets and behind-the-scenes politics in ways that would blur the line between entertainment and documentary journalism. The unresolved mysteries surrounding Roman's master plan continue to generate speculation that keeps audiences engaged between episodes. Who else might be recruited to his cause? How far is he willing to go to achieve his revenge? What secrets about the wrestling business might be revealed in the process? These questions represent the kind of authentic uncertainty that modern wrestling has struggled to create through traditional storytelling methods. Wrestling historians suggest that Roman's approach could be studied for decades as a case study in performer empowerment and creative control. The precedent he's setting extends beyond just wrestling entertainment, potentially influencing how performers in various entertainment industries approach their relationships with corporate entities and creative control over their own careers. The potential future revelations that could emerge from Roman's storyline include exposés of wrestling's territorial era politics, family feuds that have shaped the business for generations, and behind-the-scenes power struggles that have never been publicly acknowledged. Sources suggest that Roman's access to family history and industry connections could provide material for storylines that extend far beyond typical wrestling entertainment. International wrestling promotions are reportedly preparing for the possibility that Roman's approach could inspire similar creative rebellions in their own markets. The global wrestling community is watching WWE's handling of this situation as a test case for how the industry might evolve in response to performer demands for increased creative autonomy and authentic storytelling. The final community engagement opportunity here is unprecedented. You're witnessing the real-time evolution of wrestling entertainment, and your support through hype points and engagement is literally helping document this historic moment. The evidence we've uncovered suggests that Roman's story is just beginning, and the implications for wrestling's future are absolutely mind-blowing. This exposé represents more than just wrestling journalism. It's documentation of a cultural shift that could influence entertainment industries far beyond sports entertainment. The authenticity and unpredictability that Roman has brought to wrestling storytelling could serve as a blueprint for how other forms of entertainment might evolve to meet audience demands for genuine engagement and emotional investment. If you've made it this far, you're part of a community that's witnessing history in the making. The Roman Reigns revenge saga isn't just entertainment. It's a case study in performer empowerment, creative control, and the evolution of audience engagement in the digital age. Your continued support through hype points and community engagement helps us continue investigating and documenting these industry-changing developments as they unfold in real time.